few minutes early. Yeah, it feels right to do that. So good morning and welcome to Charlottesville. We definitely have folks from all over the place, all the way from Germany, which it's getting on there in the afternoon there, right? I actually for work, I work with some engineers out of Augsburg. So I'm used to a whole morning overlap, but great to have you here. Great to have folks from New York, from Seattle. I hope you're drinking coffee or whatever caffeinated beverage of your choice is. And also from our town here in our neighboring town or city of Richmond. It's just great to have everybody here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. There we go. It's always that awkward pause, so I'm just going to acknowledge the awkward pause. So for those of you who are new to Creative Mornings, welcome. I'm Corey Price. I am the host of Charlottesville, our Charlottesville chapter, one of the many global chapters of Creative Mornings. I'm also going to describe myself for those who might be low vision or not able to see. I'm a Black woman in her 20s wearing a cream sweater and a blue shirt with a cool Creative Mornings sign behind me. It's great to see you and to have you here. We also have closed captions at the bottom if you need that as well or would like that. You already have participated, so I don't need to say this, but participation's encouraged, and we're so glad to have you here and part of the discussion and part of the excitement of Creative Mornings. We always like to take a group photo. So I am going to get ready to do a screen capture. If you have babies, dogs, fur babies, plant babies, no babies, coffee, all the things, feel free to share that. If you're ready for hugs, all of that is welcome. All righty. On the count of 3. Oh, somebody's on a walk. That's so great. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. And I like to take a couple. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Got it. All right, thank you. Thank you for participating. Look at that. All right, so Creative Mornings is in 223 chapters globally in 67 countries with 27,000 attendees per month. Thanks for being part of that 27K. With 9,300 talks online and 11.2 million video views. So we are expansive and part of a very large global network, which is pretty cool. So as we all know, this month's theme is matriarchy. And we could not have Creative Mornings without the help of our global sponsors. So the first is MailChimp. And MailChimp has a special insider community for freelancers and agencies that helps small businesses succeed. It's called MailChimp & Co. And it's designed to help businesses grow, expand their expertise, and get MailChimp insider MailChimp perks. And all of these links will be in the chat for you to check out. And then next we have Skillshare. And then this month, Skillshare, we are looking at some of the Adobe Photoshop Essentials training course with Daniel Scott and creating your dream career with a former Creative Mornings speaker, Holly M. Coley-Murchison. So if you're interested in checking out Skillshare, we'll have that link in the chat for you as well. We also couldn't do this without our local partners, and that's Worth Higgins and Associates, Ting, The Fralin, Willow Tree, UVA Arts, The Bridge, and New City Arts. And we have a few announcements this morning from our partners. So I will start with Scott Hudson from Worth Higgins.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We publish a bi-monthly publication called Caliper, and we are switching over to a subscription basis. And this month, every new subscriber is going to be entered to win a Pantone prize pack. We're going to choose 2 winners from all of the June entries. So if you'd like to receive Caliper, go to the link and sign up. And I promise, we will only use your information to send you Caliper and enter you into the drawing and not spam you and have people call you. I promise.
Thanks so much, Scott. I signed up and I'm excited to get my first issue. All right. Next, we have Jeremy from Willow Tree.
Hey, y'all. So those of you in Charlottesville may already know Willow Tree. It's an award-winning digital product agency driven by innovation and grounded in strategy and user-centered design. And we are really ramping up our hiring as we are slowly leaving the pandemic. So check out the page listed there, willowtreeapps.com/careers/jobs. You can leave out the /jobs part and it still works to see what we're hiring for, but we're hiring for designers, marketers, engineers, IT professionals, analytics help all across the board. And very soon we'll be working from our brand new office down at the Wool Mill down by the river. So check it out and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. All right, next we have Lisa Javik from the Freeland.
Hi, everyone. So a couple of things we have coming up. One is our meditative art tour, and that's been ongoing virtually. So that's coming up June 26th, part of our Freeland from Home series. And then another project we have coming up that I'm very excited about. And Emma, was there a slide for that one?
Oh, yep, it's the next one.
Okay. Yes, so we are launching a little art museum outside of the Freeland. And so for those of you who don't know, we have been closed because of the pandemic, yes, but also because we've had this really huge renovation project going on. So we're not going to be reopened to the public until the end of August when the fall semester begins. So for the summer, we are constructing a miniature museum. So those of you who are familiar with the free little libraries that are all over the country, there's this movement, and I actually just put a couple website links in the chat for those of you who haven't seen some of these miniature galleries that people have been doing during the pandemic. So we are actually looking for local artists to submit work, tiny work, for this tiny museum. The deadline to apply is July 2nd. And I have, Emma or Corey, do you have the link to the Google form to that? Someone will put that in the chat. So small art to fit on walls that are going to be about 12 by 14 inches. We can take up to 6 artists per exhibition period, and the exhibition time frame is going to be 3 weeks. So the first one will open on July 16th, and we're going to actually have a public event and celebration for that outside the museum. And when the exhibition comes down, keeping in the spirit of the free little libraries, the art will then go into the free museum store, which is going to be a separate little building. And the public can come and take a piece, swap a piece, and it'll be just an awesome way that we can work with local artists, with student artists, and share even more art. So I would love for those local artists out there. I'd love for you to apply. Laura Lee, I see you. And if you have friends who are artists, just please spread the word. We're already getting a lot of interest, so I foresee this is going to continue. So yes, and if you have any questions, yes, Emma, there is a stipend, $75. If you have any questions, you can also email me, and I will put my email address in the chat. And I think that covers it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. sounds like a great opportunity. I'm thinking about submitting something too. All right, next, Alan from the Bridge.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to share a couple paid opportunities for artists that you all can take advantage of if you're so inclined. The first is our project with the inpatient psychiatric facility at UVA Hospital, UVA Health. We're doing murals in the hallways. We're doing as many as 20, representing all of the Charlottesville neighborhoods in an effort to try to make people who are in treatment feel more connected to their outside community. If you're a muralist, or even if you're just a painter who might be thinking that they might like to try large scale work, apply and we'll see if we can get you doing murals. It's a really fun, meaningful opportunity. The second is the Collaborative Residency, which we've done for 3 years, skipped a year during the pandemic, and we're doing it again along with our programming partners over at Visible Records, which is part of the Bridge family over there, where we're gonna put 3 artists into a studio together and have that culminate in a group exhibition at the end of a 4-month residency period. There's a stipend, and your studio space is paid for. So apply for that, please. That's open to artists working in any medium at all. The third is the Red Shed Mural Project. It's an opportunity for artists, muralists, to paint the shed at McGuffey, the famed Red Shed at the McGuffey Center. So we're working with McGuffey to make that happen. And then the fourth is, of course, our youth engagement program, Smart Kids. We're looking for teachers into the summer and into the fall. The Boys and Girls Clubs here have some thoughtful, safe COVID protocol. So we're hoping that we can find the vaccinated artists that are excited about taking what they know about whatever medium they work in and sharing it with kids. You can find out more information about all of these things at thebridgepai.org. I've actually got a couple extra slides. One thing I wanted to share with you all is that there's going to be a great yard sale out in front of the gallery this Saturday. Come early because we did put it on Craigslist, which means that the Craigslist enthusiastic garage sailors are gonna descend upon us. But yeah, bring cash, make it easy on everyone. A portion of everyone who's selling is donating a portion of their earnings to the Bridge to help support community arts. So I guess Venmo will be accepted, at least by Jeremy. I don't know. And I wanted to let you all know that this weekend there is a release party over at the Potter's Craft Cider location. Their little church house, amazing, beautiful little place outside of town, in celebration of a new cider that is being. It was a collaboration between us and Potter's. It's a delicious cider that the can design was created by Federico Quadlaquadl, and it is a fantastically beautiful can that you will just want to put your lips on. And I think it's like $1 of every sale goes to the Bridge. So so we're really thankful that that they're doing that, and we hope to see you out there celebrating with the Lua Project and listening to some fantastic Mexilachin music, a combination of traditional Mexican folk music and Appalachian music. So we'll see you out there.
Great. Thank you so much, Alan. And last but never, and certainly not least, Maureen Brondegg. I was trying to say your full name. Oh, good God. Maureen, Feast of Art. Let's go.
Thanks, Corey. There's a lot of really great things happening this month.
Oh, yeah.
New City Arts has been paying artists to turn our gallery into their studio space for a month at a time since January. Tobia Munt is this month's artist fellow, and each artist proposed a project that relates to breath in some way, either in relation to the ongoing impacts of systemic racism and or the COVID-19 pandemic. So Tobia has turned the gallery into her studio space for the month, and she is working on a large scale installation that illustrates the impact of holding her breath or breath stolen from racism, and also illustrating Black joy through 13 tufted wool sculptures. At the end of the month, from June 23rd to 27th, all the work will be on view. And we'll put a link in the chat for the open hours. It's a Wednesday through Sunday, and we're no longer requiring appointments. So we'd love for you to come see the work that she's creating this month at Welcome Gallery. I also have the needle felting workshop that she's leading on this slide, but it filled up yesterday. On June 25th at 6 p.m. It's a free workshop. Materials are covered. She's going to be teaching needle felting techniques. It's called Painting with Wool, the Color of Joy. We might open up another workshop and people might cancel. So if you're interested in coming, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat, and we're going to create a wait list in case there's enough people that want to come to another workshop. So that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Maureen. Maureen, not what I mashed your name into. Sorry. With that, we're going to move to what I really enjoy hearing every month is our manifesto, or virtual manifesto. And we always ask for a volunteer you can raise your hand. I'll keep an eye on the participants, or you can, like, if you've got your camera on, you can wave at me. But we always like to ask someone to read that. So any takers this week or month?
I can do it, Corey.
Oh, I love that.
Cool. All right. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you so much, Lee. Yes, everyone is welcome, and I'm so happy you all are here. So without further ado, I'll introduce our speaker, who you've already met with already, but I will read her bio. Adrienne Oliver is a poet, performer, public school educator, single mother, and a Black woman in each of those realities. Her work is to become a worthy ancestor. She curates and hosts the Cocoa Sprinkler Citrus Poem Reading Series, and Jerica Brown calls her the only person who reads his poems better than him. Other projects, films, and writing have recently appeared in the Virginia Film Festival, Spark and Echo, Puerto de Sol, Dear Lois, Tribe de Mama, Maximum Rock and Roll, and The Night Heron Barks. A 2021 PEN America Emerging Voices Fellow, she is writing her first book. Please join me in welcoming Adrienne.
Hello. I don't wish for you to be as awkward as I am when your bio is read, but I hope that that feeling resonates with someone out there, that moment of being like, I mean, it's true on paper. Like, gross, the way you say it, you know? I'm a writer, so I write things. This morning, I wrote this, and so I intend to be with those words today, yeah? Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to scroll through this. Good morning. Okay. Thank you for being here today and for lending your energy to this conversation. I endeavor to match your energy and to honor that and to speak my truths openly here in this space. It's my intention for being here today. Does everyone have water if they need it, or a journal? Do you have your breath? Do you need to take a moment to check in yourself and ensure that your needs are met? I realized my jaw was kind of tight. So during the ad break, I took some time to really get in on my, so I've come to make the case that mothering is not role specific, and indeed it is an agreement with my legacy, and that bond is not restricted to professional titles or artistic mediums, or gender or creed or color. I've come and will speak entirely from my lived experience and from self-teachings. And I do this both as a testament to the devaluation of oral history and also as an act of unburdening for my spirit. I come today in my most humble role, which is as a Black single mother. I come on my hands and knees, I come pleading and yearning for a better world for my child. I come sort of begging to trust in her longevity, to believe in that possibility for her. I come in pursuit of birthrights that she deserves by nature of being alive in this broken and beautiful place. I speak as a mother. Motherhood defined me, and I have allowed this joyfully. I have found in the work of mothering a junction of all that I seek to stoke in the world. And that is justice and creation and radical joy and awareness and liberation. I find those things in mothering. And so I am not mourning to say, this is a role I joyfully step into. Here's a story about some things I can't help, okay? When I guess about 3, I stayed the night at my babysitter's. I had an in-home caregiver. Her name is Mrs. Green. We lived in Cleveland at the time. Cleveland looks a lot like as you drive out towards Avon Extended here in town, right? Lots of like brick. It's a lot of brick. She had this brick house, this red brick house, and you walk up the side stairs right into her kitchen. She had that sort of, you know, those tables, they're like linoleum covered, and they've got this kind of silver band around the side, and no one puts good chairs at them because that would be ridiculous. But you can't put folding chairs there when you have 1-year-olds in your house, right? So for some reason, there were real good chairs at this table, and I remember loving that. She had a little hutch sort of in the dining room where she kept a lot of her sewing materials, and she had a pin cushion shaped like a strawberry, and I would just stand there and be like, I know I'm not allowed to touch it, but it looks so good. I loved this home and I loved this woman. I stayed the night with her when I was 3. Mrs. Green was an elder in her church, a Black Baptist church in Cleveland, right? And she had been there a minute. I say this because it must have been a Saturday that I stayed over because we went to church the next morning. Now, I grew up in an a-religious household, so my folks needed a break, but they were like, yes, whatever, go to Baptist services. I'm taking a night for myself. When my father tells this story, he impersonates my sort of wobbly toddler walking and the intensity of my performance. He repeats the story like it's fresh in his mind. And I know that having watched my child do things the way it sort of sears in the memory. But apparently the next evening when I came home and went to tell my parents at the sleepover, I said, how was it? What did you do? And I went to the bathroom and I got that sort of potty stool so you can step up. You may or may not be familiar that you can step up to the toilet. It's a pretty regal experience. And I got my stool and I brought it out to the kitchen and I sort of grabbed the toilet paper and let it tangle behind me all the way there. And then I got there and I mopped my brow and I stood on it and I said, Lord have mercy. This story is meant to communicate two things. I have always made creative work of my truth telling. And I am not well versed in the ways of the church, but I'm not afraid to preach. And I think I might do a little bit of both today. And so I wanted to let you know, hey, look, that's not new. That's me. That's born and raised like that. Okay, but first a poem. Always first a poem. When you see water, this is Alice Walker. When you see water in a stream, you say, oh, this is stream water. When you see water in the river, you say, oh, this is water of the river. And when you see ocean water, you say, this is the ocean's water. But actually, water is always only itself and does not belong to any of these containers, though it creates them. And so it is with you. It's kind of exciting, maybe too on the nose, Tina, that you're here, because I'm a little bit in a battle with Creative Mornings, whether or not they know it. I was like, whoa, I have called this person to me so that I can say, hey, I got words, because I read and I reread the monthly theme, and I continually found myself a bit at war with the opening sentence. Imagine a society in which women make all the key decisions that shape the safety, health, education, opportunities, and culture of the community. And I thought to myself, well, that's not really hard work. I don't need any imagination to do that. Women are doing that already. I easily imagine this world where women make key decisions daily, where their impact is immeasurable. Why then a call to imagine? And I think it's in the second statement, because the next question says, what would your town or city look like if the systems and structures were re-envisioned and women held the majority of positions of power and leadership? There's the rub. I think it's a patriarchal view of matriarchy to assume that it looks like women in positions of power and systemic decision-making. I think this is a view that communicates the limited scope of patriarchy's power, of its fear, of its relevancy. I think the patriarchy cannot imagine itself in new roles and ways of being, so it cannot imagine or teach us a vision of matriarchy that is anything but its own reproduction. That we see matriarchy as women exclusive says more about our experience of patriarchy than our readiness for matriarchal leadership. I think we, us here in this space, we people, we live in a society that measures influence by positionality and willingness to power hoard, yeah? And this society sort of devalues all that we call women's work. The nurturing, the tending, the world building, creative discovery, caregiving, homemaking, life-bearing work. It loves to hate softness, this place. It loves to hate shared resources, not just in others, but within itself. I guess I'm saying we demonize the work of women to belittle their readiness for positions of power that we may not especially want and won't be supported in, knowing that once we're there, we'll advocate for people power. We'll advocate for domestic, nurturing, invisible, essential, unpaid work. We will demand it becomes shared. I'm saying if we define matriarchy by the replacement of women in roles of power, all we have done is task all of us not men people with upholding still patriarchy by another name. I had this crude joke and I didn't mean to say it, but then I was like talking out loud to myself. I was like, yeah, because if we just replace the P with the, and I was like, never mind, that's a whole road I have no interest in writing that. But the effects of it are devastating, and they are in contrast, they are in contradiction, they are in conflict with progress. That's the box I'm standing on. This is a poem for a woman whose voice I like. It's Nikki Giovanni. So he said, you ain't got no talent. If you didn't have a face, you wouldn't be nobody. And she said, God created heaven and earth and all that's black within them. So he said, you ain't really no hot shit. They tell me plenty sisters take care of better business than you. And so she said, on the third day, he made chitlins and all good things to eat and said, that's good. So he said, if the white folks hadn't been under your skirt and been giving you the big play, you'd have had to come on uptown like everybody else. And she replied, then he took a big black greasy rib from Adam and said, we will call this woman and her name will be Sapphire. And she will divide into 4 parts that Simone may sing a song. And he said, you're pretty full of yourself, ain't you? So she replied, show me someone not full of herself and I'll show you a hungry person. I think that we cannot deny the yearning for power in a system that only deals in resource hoarding. Womanhood as an experience and set of tools, it's been systematically crushed of spirit. She says casually. And the players of this have veiled themselves well, enough that hungry women are grasping at morsels too tiny to feed their hunger in hopes that somewhere along the way they might snatch it from some other woman's pantry. 55% of who voted for what? Show me someone not full of themselves and I will show you a hungry person. For better or worse, women are at work attempting to shape a world. I think we see that ideology can be upheld by any gender, and we will crumble if we continue to dismiss the influence and decision-making power of women. But we don't need the pendulum to swing towards more power for women, but rather less power mongering and worship. I'm saying that's my vision of a matriarchal society. And that we, the creative many, may not simply concern ourselves with deconstruction of patriarchal oppression in the ways of our societies, but we, artists, it is our job to take up the minds of the people. This is against the police. It's Miguel James. My entire oeuvre is against the police. If I write a love poem, it's against the police. And if I sing the nakedness of bodies, I sing against the police. And if I make this earth a metaphor, I make a metaphor against the police. If I speak wildly in my poems, I speak against the police. And if I manage to create a poem, it's against the police. I haven't written a single word, a verse, a stanza that isn't against the police. All my prose is against the police. My entire oeuvre, including this poem, my whole oeuvre is against the police. Before it was a thing we built, it was an idea we held. Which means it's a soft and tender place that we can touch. It was someone's fantasy somewhere. Someone dreamed it up. We weren't born into this and it was, we built it. Which means at any time, through any fantasy, we can build that. I think artists are invested in that work daily. Building worlds. A deep understanding, my preferred vision of matriarchal leadership, structures, societies, and legacies demands that we understand it as a decentralization of power. Boom, a return of land and body and creative sovereignty to people. I see it as restorative healing, where there once was consequential, oppressive force. It is my view that that is inherently creative. I think truly matriarchal communities are in reciprocity with one another, with the lands they live upon, with the spiritual matter of the world. I think there is communal understanding that our thriving depends on the well-being of all people. I think it's art making. I think it's fundamentally art making at its core. And so we must be at the heart of it. Matriarchy at work is healing at work. It is the collective where once the individual rank. It's a recalibration of icons. Which made me think of this poem, which is called Famous by Naomi Shihab Nye. The river is famous to the fish. The loud voice is famous to silence, which knew it would inherit the earth before anybody said so. The cat sleeping on the fence is famous to the birds watching him from the birdhouse. The tear is famous briefly to the cheek. The idea you carry close to your bosom is famous to your bosom. The boot is famous to the earth, more famous than the dress shoe, which is famous only to floors. The bent photograph is famous to the one who carries it and not at all famous to the one who is pictured. I want to be famous to shuffling men who smile while crossing streets, sticky children in grocery lines. Famous as the one who smiled back. I want to be famous in the way a pulley is famous or a buttonhole, not because it did anything spectacular, but because it never forgot what it could do. For me, this is the distinction between a patriarchal and a matriarchal society. And look, you could call it a better name, give me one and I'll call it that. It requires a celebration, a veneration, an amplification of women's work. It requires it. It requires that we see the role of mothering in society as the birthing of promise and of legacy. That is justice making at work, and every soul must engage in that work because it is genderless spiritual reparations. Okay, this is Lucille Clifton. It was a dream in which my greater self rose up before me, accusing me of my life with her extra finger, whirling in a gyre of rage at what my days had come to. What, I pleaded with her, could I have do? Or what could I have done? She twisted her wild hair, and she sparked her wild eyes and screamed as long as I could hear her. This. I have to do the work that is mine. I can write origin stories with my body. I can cultivate a legacy. I can destroy the barriers and enemies to joy for more people. And this has This is what my work has become, the gestures and languages and offerings of origin, and I call it mothering. I make poems and I make dinner and I make waves, and I do it from a place of ensuring that we remain in pursuit of loving, joyful, tender ascension. I think those are the habits of matriarchy. When I was listening to you all share about where you saw and felt and heard and experienced that, I had this list of all the things. I said, these are the habits of matriarchy. And I had this list of all the things. And I went and I listened. Could I hear them? Could I hear them in what you were saying? Acceptance, presence, trust, patience, curiosity, reciprocity, belonging, a love ethic, forgiveness. You know it, you feel it when it's happening in action. You can point to it, which means we have to work to see it. We have to choose to see that. We have to choose to cultivate belonging because we know that's what the work is. We get to take up that mantle. We get to practice forgiveness. Where once our urgency, our devotion to a binary existed, now lives acceptance and curiosity. If that's not the work of artists, I guess I have it wrong. I don't think I do. In action, it sounds like this. I have one last poem. It's called Service. There is nothing to do each day but step into the dawn. I awoke to the new day's frost, the crispy remnant of yesterday's chilling descent into night, and my child's fingers crawling across my chest. There is a wake, and there's the awake of mothering. One is just eyes open. The other burns a soft halo. You said the trees on the hill seem to hold hands, and why can't everything touch so tender? Meanwhile, the cavity filling on number 30 is new and my bite is akimbo, but I swore this time I would remember not to forget the joy of feeling, of blood returning to my lips, of numbness dripping from my cells. We have a routine called mourning. Our bodies trace silently the bathroom's invisible pathways carved in the monotony of doing, of readying for, of beginnings. You brush, I wipe, you wash, I spray. We weave a tiny history. And then quick like day, an emergence, gut steadied, faces primed, and I go to work with my days. Indeed, on Thursdays especially, there is nothing to do but go to work. The artists and bus drivers and teachers and electricians and custodians go to work. Some babies are born or not. Clay mugs break and a car struck a woman on 4th Street. Someone's door was beaten down and Skittles are a threat, and we throat hurts from choking on hope. And dawn must be why prayers are nighttime's bounty. After sunrise, there's nothing to do in America but get up and find your shoes and walk toward the light. I think that's good work. Thank you.
Could you just say that all again? Could we just?
One more time for the people in the back.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So for everybody on the call, if you want to privately message me your questions, I'll kind of facilitate a Q&A here. And so while we're waiting for those thoughts to kind of process, because I know I'm still thinking and I'm still processing, and I will continue to think and process after a time here today. But what I think is most prevalent for me, and just kind of the question that I have for you, is there's this richness to what our world could be. And I know we have to create that together, but I'm just thinking like of the most decadent dessert, or if you're not into desserts, whatever is decadent for you or juicy for you, think about what we're missing out on. And it's a little bit of FOMO, right? Like it's a little, it's a little bit of FOMO, but it's how, so I guess I wanted to ask, how did you identify that, whoa, we think we have something good and we think we have something juicy, but we are missing out on decadence, and here's the decadence. How did you arrive to that? I guess what led you down that path to figuring out like, wait, hold on. We are replicating patriarchy. And patriarchy, I don't know, I'm just rambling now, but I guess
I understand your question. Yeah. I only smile because my answer is so disappointing. There's no path, like there's no like, ta-da, and I've arrived at my knowledge. Like it didn't happen like that. It was like I touched it here and I touched it there, and I decided that that was the thing I wanted to feel and experience. And so I oriented my gaze. Like it's an upsetting answer because it's boring to say one day it was harder to do that thing than to be like, hi, my soul wants to touch your soul and be nearby that. And when that's happening, like there is such an energy of it that you're forced to think, well, where else does this exist? And I could point to some places. Well, it exists in that theater. Okay, but only doing this kind of work. And it starts to really get specific. When I do this kind of work with these kinds of people, oh, okay, that's what that feeling is. Okay, where else have I felt that? All right, I felt it here. Oh, it turns out, I mean, show me what you love and I'll show you who you are. And I think sometimes I don't want to couch this thought. I don't think it's sometimes. I genuinely and firmly believe that there are gestures of love, and they are what we give our attention, like energy to. And so I think we love some things we claim to despise. We love some things we say we're done with or over or wish to reject and dismantle. But like if we continue to pay it our devotion and energy and time, then we don't have the resources to build a thing. I was like, oh, that was smart. Turns out this is energy better spent. That's what it feels like, you know? You know, when you like, you have 2 hours to yourself, and you have this crucial moment of deciding how you're going to spend that time. And each person is going to make, right? Like someone's gonna say like, I'm gonna spend that time entirely by myself. Someone else is like, I'm going to the car wash and I'm gonna sit in the car wash and watch the lights. Like someone else has their own experience. And one person, you know, in this space is gonna call 15 people to be like, I've got 2 hours, come be with me. I'm saying, you know already what suits your soul. It's not harder work to turn to that. I'm actually ramble for ramble, if that's supportive. I
mean, it was all good. So is it really a ramble if it's all valuable?
I don't know. I don't know that I need another excuse though to like.
Okay, I didn't say that then. So a question here from your end. How does this translate to the way you relate to young people, your child or other children? What do you do or teach differently from the way that you were taught?
It's like I'm borrowing this world from them. Like I'm on their time. And I like, okay, because my mom's on my time and I'll let her know about it too. You know what I mean? Like, that's the work of the child, is to say, I'm doing it my way. Our timelines are overlapping, but one of us stays. And so it must be a world then that loves them.
So does that translate to you listening more, like really listening more?
Like, what are the things you do to—
I mean, now you're in, I don't know if that's what you were specifically asking, but I got curious and expressing that curiosity.
Okay, so I do some proactive things. Like, I try to empower young people with the language to describe the internal experience that they're having. I think a disconnect often is that, like, we're not using shared vocabulary. And someone's inability to express themselves according to, like, my level of awareness, experience, is unfair. So I can't demand that of them. It is my job to learn their language and teach them mine, so that we can find space for communication, right? So I think about that in the classroom, and I think about it in my parenting work. And I think it's the work of poetry, is to name the unnameable, to put words to what cannot otherwise be expressed. And I mean, maybe I could dial that down for my own personal work and say, I think it's the role of art making, is to give language to that which is known, keenly felt, but unnameable. And I often am wondering, is it discovery of and creation of new language, or is it a remembering? It feels more like remembering something that was mine, right? You ever had that when you stand in front of something that a person has made with their hands, and you think, like, oh, how do I already know this? How do I know this already? How is it possible that I could? I think that, so I chase that, and I see that it's my job to support people to do that. And, like, real talk, not all the Lord's people are my people. Some of them are the work of the Lord. I cannot concern myself with everyone. I gracefully let go of that one, you know? And so I know my people are the hungry people, and I see young people's hunger as so potent and full of magic. The world they have imagined is radical, and I want to live in that. So I'm just trying to figure out how I make that possible for them, you know? Yes, teaching the language, and blowing up my idea of language. I get myself into trouble a lot in public schools.
No.
I do. And by trouble, I don't mean like reprimands. I just mean, like, reprimands, can you imagine? We want humans to engage with I want humans to engage with one another. I want their ideas. I want the wealth of knowledge, the infinite, like, talent and wonder that is inside of them. I want it to have a portal through which it can, like, connect to another human. I think that is the work of art making and education. So I have to look at all their ways of expression as being an attempt at that. I have to assume that they want that too. And so their expression then, their anger, their chair flipping, their stomping, their sharing stories, they're sitting on your lap, they're taking your hand, they're screaming in your face, like they're trying to tell you something. And you have to listen to the river beneath the river, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere deep below that current, like is the water, like is the potent. So you have to look at all things as being language, their body, their doodles, their patterns. I wonder what it would be like to be known like that. You know, I think we do a thing when we're adults. Me, I don't know. This is a generalization, but it feels true that we look at someone's patterns. I always see them here at this time. It's like sort of being a critique and not, if you always see someone at the same time, likely you are there. And also, doesn't that mean y'all are on a rhythm? Aren't you saying that you found a kindred spirit? Why would you not want to chase that? Hi, I think we're meant to be friends because I see you here every time at this time. I think we're being asked to know one another. We're working really hard to be like, thank you. Again, not all the people are my people, but the people who are for me, the work that is mine, the things I can gift, minute.
Cool. So we've got one more, if you've got a burning question, because I know we're close to that top of the hour. We got time for you. You've got a burning question. So I also think that was a beautiful place to stop too. So I'll linger on this for like 5 more seconds. But I do think that, yeah, I know I valued this time with you this morning, and so many other people have expressed in the chat as well, just how much, how meaningful. I think sometimes we go through our day and we don't get a meaningful chunk to our day. It's a lot of repetition or your grind, right? And I think Creative Mornings gives us this opportunity to have that meaningful time, to make space for that. And I certainly felt that this morning. So I wanted to thank you for that. And I see some people nodding heads and smiling too. So I'm glad I'm not the only one. But thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your work. Thank you for inspiring us all. Thank you for asking us to think more and to think deeper and to think different. This was highly enjoyable. So there. And thank you all for joining. Thank you for coming from across the globe, from across the country, early in the morning, late in the afternoon, whatever time it is. Whatever the weather is outside, it's kind of gloomy here. So I hope it's nicer in other places. But I so value all of you. It's summer. Enjoy the warmth. We don't get to have it all the time, even if it's humid. So enjoy it anyway. And enjoy your weekend. It's Friday. Great to have you all here. Thanks for coming, and see you soon. See everyone.